I'm going to now continue my commentary on this book right here. And we're going to talk about Matthew chapter 20, verses 1 through 16. All right. Now, let's talk about the wealthy landowner. Who was this guy? Okay. This guy was rich. And it was a guy. Remember, females back at that time could not own land. So this was a dude. Okay? And I'm sure you've heard the old Good Burger song, I'm a dude, you're a dude, so on and so forth. Okay, type thing. So, anyway, you have a wealthy landowner. He has a huge field. And for those of you who live in the Midwestern United States, you know what a huge field is, okay? This would be where you would see corn or soybeans for miles on end. Maybe you might see a dirt road or two, but otherwise you'd be seeing field beyond field. Whether it be soybeans, whether it be corn, whether it be switchgrass, whether it be wheat. Doesn't matter what the crop is. It's just a huge field. Alright? Now then, in this particular case, this guy had a vineyard. That meant he had a lot of grapes. Now keep in mind that when it comes to grapes, you have to harvest them at a very specific time. You harvest them too soon and the grapes aren't ripe. If you harvest them too late, the grapes spoil. You have to harvest them before the bugs get them. You have to harvest them before disease kills them. Or the rain floods them, or you have a drought that dries them out type thing. Okay? So you really have to harvest them at a very specific time. Now, even though this landowner would have a big family, and he probably would, he'd probably have lots of kids, there'd be no way for those kids to go through that entire farmland and gather all those crops all by themselves. And he knew this. Now let's flip over to the day laborers. Who were these day laborers? They were most likely Galileans. Okay? Now these Galileans were poor, and they would go to the town square looking for a job for the day. Okay? They needed employment for a full day. Okay? Now they didn't know if they were going to get employment for the next day, but they needed employment for that day. So this wealthy landowner would come by and he would offer jobs to these day laborers who would show up early in the morning, and for that one particular day they would have employment. They wouldn't have recurring employment, they would just have employment for a day. So that left them in a pretty poor state of mind. Now keep in mind that a lot of these Galileans were uneducated too. They weren't the dumbest people in the world, but they were pretty undereducated. So they couldn't just get any job. They had to get something right off the bat. Their lives depended upon getting this job for a day. And so they'd work out in the hot sun, and they work in atrocious conditions to try to get enough grapes to get enough money where they could survive for the next day. And that's how this system worked. A lot of these Galileans were deep in debt too. So getting those day jobs, those day labor jobs, was very important to them. Because it was their chance to possibly pay off their debts and get back on their feet again. Alright, now that you have the picture of this, the parable makes a little more sense. I will tell you more in my next video. Stay tuned.